Yes, yes. Once again, here we go with the Reentry Connect podcast. I'm your host, Keenan Hudson, and we have a very special guest, Ms. Hannah. She's going to go ahead and introduce herself, let y'all know what she do. But first and foremost, I want to thank everybody here at the campus Temple University for Resolve Philadelphia. We're definitely going to be touching on some things about the unequal opportunities, that goes on in the city, things like that. But we're trying to share different resources and different information on how we can prove to do better with the people in the world. So without further ado, Ms. Hannah, if you go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us who you are and where you're from.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hmm.
I'm from New York City originally.
Hmm.
I moved to Philadelphia only a few years ago, but I was very passionate about justice reform because I actually was wrongfully convicted of a violent felony many years ago. And from the time that I was inside, I was always helping other prisoners and even some of the staff understand laws and what people's civil liberties were.
Mm.
And so when I came to Philadelphia, even though I'm originally from New York City,
Yeah, yeah. We can
um,
hear the accent.
I,
We hear the twang. But go ahead, go ahead. It's okay.
I, the first place I started was the Institute for Community Justice. I helped them host expungement clinics to help people understand that there were things they could clear off their records.
Hmm.
And I helped them with one of the cohorts that had to do with teaching people reentry and reintegration. After that, I had moved forward to helping the Prison Society and Institutional Law Project downtown.
Hmm.
And then after that, I moved to Mural Arts, helping shape the first all women's reentry program
Oh, wow, wow,
because
wow.
I realized that
Hmm.
a lot of times in the reentry community,
Hmm.
things are primarily tailored in terms of
Hmm.
technical skills, soft skills, and professional development to men.
Wow, wow,
Because the
wow.
recidivism rate for women a lot of
Hmm.
times involves childcare,
Childcare.
dealing
Yeah.
with pregnancy, dealing with things that are not really
Mm.
addressed in terms of their
Wow.
recidivism. And so
Yeah.
all of those things were implemented
Hmm.
into the cohort, the first cohort that I helped structure.
Hmm.
And so I've just tried to be an agent of change. I've tried to bridge the gap between different reentry and reintegration services in
Wow.
Philadelphia, New York, and other places.
Hmm.
I've also been to DC and trained in DC. It spoke to the
Yeah.
Sentencing Commission.
Nice.
And furthermore, right now I'm going to school to try to get my Bachelor of Law so that I can get a law degree to help
Nice.
others.
That's
Um,
absolutely. So let me ask you, Ms. Hannah. So you said, and I'm a backpedal because I know you
mhm.
said you were wrongfully convicted of a violent crime in the past. So when you were finally released, did you experience any type of challenges as far as getting a job or living any way of normal day living, like your
Yes,
normal life? And what type of challenges were that? Could you explain to the world
yes.
the type of challenges that you experienced?
A lot of the key things that lead to recidivism have to do with one, paying back any kind of restitution dues. And it's very prevalent for agencies like parole and probation to instantaneously incarcerate people for their inability to pay
Mhm.
without understanding that if you don't have a job or you're not able to gain wages, how are you going to do that? And it's not their job, quote
Yeah.
unquote, to be understanding of that. It's their job to
Yeah.
incarcerate you if you cannot pay.
Wow. Wow.
Second, I would say that a lot of times, even just anything involving those key words, right?
Hmm.
Felony, violent record,
Hmm.
and having to talk about those things is not easy for anyone. And sometimes people with
It's
felony
true.
convictions will give up opportunities because
Hmm.
they don't feel like they've been trained or given the tools to have those conversations.
It's true.
So if you can't even converse with companies, organizations,
Hmm.
or people of the like who might open a door for you,
Yeah.
then that's the second part of it. So a
Hmm.
part of what we did in that cohort was teaching people how to garner conversations in different spaces with
Wow.
different people from different classes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, thirdly, I would like to say that the other difficulty I ran into was a lot of employers don't want to have that conversation. The second they
Mm.
run a background check on you and they see that you have a record, they
Hmm.
instantaneously just overpass you. And so, what I did personally was I would go to these companies and these organizations and say, you need to know that I'm a person.
Wow.
Give me 10 minutes of your time, 15 minutes of your time to understand I am not that lie. And that's how I had gained my university job. That's how I gained entry to my certificate program at Cornell right now.
Wow.
That's how I was able to fight 5 years to get back into college to finish my associate's degree.
Wow.
And so I just equipped myself professionally, socially, and
Yeah.
education wise to be able to carry that out and then help others.
And help other people. Wow, that's very powerful. So you've been through a lot in life, and everybody would probably look at you and say, "Oh, look at this professional, this, that, and the third." But little do they know that you have a history. You have things that you've been through, but you never lost hope, and you still was able to jump over those hurdles. And as I shared before with people, sharing some of my story, me coming home back in 2016 after spending nearly 15 years, in prison as a juvenile. It was not easy coming out, trying to search for certain types of jobs and things like that, because they will shut the door in your face. Like you said, but one of the reasons why we're here today is to share those type of different type of opportunities that should be presented to any individual. They
As a
should.
corollary to
Mhm.
that, I'd love to share a
Yeah.
key piece here is that in our first cohort, we had women ranging from only doing 1 year to
Mhm.
20 years in
Wow.
prison. So imagine coming out,
Mhm.
not being technically equipped, not being able to use a computer, know how to create a CV or resume and do those things. Then you're instantaneously at a disadvantage because
Yes.
how are you creating a resume? How are you listing your experience? How are you articulating what you've learned
Learn.
during your time to
Yeah.
say, I'm worth it for you to give me a shot at a fair chance
Yeah.
to have a job.
Yeah, and that's very powerful. It's very profound because here it was going away when they just had flip phones, then come
Yes.
into a world of technology and things like that.
Yes.
You feel very lost. You
Yes.
feel like, hey, like you feel like an eyeball, But again, giving people hope, giving people, understanding that it's going to be okay. You just got to keep pushing forward. And one last thing, if there was something you can tell anybody that's incarcerated, that's locked down in a recovery house, anywhere right now, any type of hope, for the future, what would that be?
To understand one thing, which is a quote that I even would say inside. Anytime I was trying to be that uplifting voice or be the motivation for other people who had given up hope,
Mm-hmm.
is that when you are incarcerated, your mind, your eyes, and your ears are free. Even though you physically are incarcerated, those things are not. And you can always equip and empower and grow those things while you're inside.
While you're inside. Wow, and there it is, Miss Hannah. Once again, tell them who you are, what you're representing, and if they wanted to contact your organization, how could they reach you?
I can be found on LinkedIn as Hannah S.M. My phone number is 424-335-1450. I make sure to answer all types of inquiries and questions. And thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's not a problem. We appreciate having you.
Stay strong.
And here it is. It's Keenan Hudson here with the Reentry Connect podcast. I appreciate everybody. Feel free to reach out to Ms. Hannah. Tune into more that's coming. And we telling y'all it's going to be a powerful event today here with Resolve Philly, Temple University. Appreciate everybody. But until next time, everybody have a good